Welcome back to the Career Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Kalis. It has been a year and a half since the big AI boom when tools like ChatGPT started creeping into our daily routines. Well, since then, a lot has happened. We've had to learn and unlearn, develop new strategies, adapt to new tools, and we've had to have some difficult conversations. One topic in particular remains very contentious, and that's what impacts will AI have on an individual and industry wide scale down the line. Joining us today is writer and creative director Andre Howson, a one man content powerhouse I've had the honor of working with in the past. He's going to give us a few insights into his experiences as a creative and a leader as to whether AI will expand or narrow industries and what employees of the present and the future can expect. Thank you so much for joining us, Andre. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Hey, Jaden, thanks for having me and a fantastic initiative you have going here.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. You know, it's nice to be appreciated. I know everybody has a podcast nowadays, but it's a lot of work, you know? So,
It's a definite amount of work. I mean, we do a bunch of podcasts here as well. A lot of work goes behind the scenes, but podcasts are the thing. It's happening. People love it. So fantastic stuff.
nice, nice. Well, I am more familiar with your work, but our audience, not so much. So, in order to give them a bit more context, could you tell us a bit about your career journey and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. Well, right now, I'm a content director at a content marketing agency called Click2View, based in Dubai. So I work on content marketing here. Previously, I was the regional director for Raw Media in Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, which is another content production and storytelling house. How I came here was sort of interesting, I guess. I did the whole corporate thing for a bit, and I ended up in television. Very classic, old-fashioned TV. I was working in a TV studio for about a year and a half, and it was just um, too much.
Too much.
Just too much. It was just too much. So I did what any millennial does. I quit. I bought a laptop and I started traveling. And what I did was I started writing about travel. So I figured I'm traveling so much anyway, I can just write about it. And I used to write, and then I found this great up and coming new content company called Row, and I asked like, do you guys need travel articles? They're like, yeah. And I used to submit travel articles to them, and they used to publish it, and it was fantastic. And that was the start of the story. They asked me to come on. I came on. We started writing, started creating more content. I ended up as creative director and then managing the whole production side of things for them.
It's I think a very key aspect of that is the fact that you took the initiative to quit when you knew it wasn't working for you. And I think as creatives we've been put in that position a lot because we have to adapt to these kinds of obstacles in our careers. And I think you've also probably seen a pretty dramatic shift in the way that you work and the very content that you're creating as well. And like we mentioned, the big AI boom, it kind of crept up on us out of nowhere and then boom, it was just changing our day to day tasks, even our personal lives. So as we watch this unfold, what changes or trends did you notice happening to your role?
So I've been around for a bit, right?
Yeah.
I've been in the digital space for a bit. So I've seen quite a number of changes and shifts. First, from there being a time when there was no internet at all, to there being internet, to internet becoming super popular, to social media, and then having social media suddenly come onto the scene. Then when it comes to actually creating content for people, the fact that we switched mainly from radio and television to the internet and to social media was a huge change. So I'm familiar with these changes that come to society and how things change. AI, like last year, as you said, when it came about, it was this huge, huge, scary thing, a scary and exciting thing when it came to how people recognize and try to deal with it. Um, as to how people viewed it when it first came, it was exciting to some, mostly upper level management, and was scary to others, mostly creatives. And for the first month or two, everyone was just making predictions at a rate. People predicted that, look, the potential is there to just cut your staff by half, just increase double resources. AI can just do so much. They can do your presentations, they can do your video, they can do your writing,
Yeah.
they can do your editing. What do you need people for? Okay?
Yeah.
Year down the line, we still need people. We're still using people because AI couldn't fulfill half the promises people thought it could. So there was that. If I were to compare then and now with how I work, or my teams and my colleagues, right? What's mostly happened with the introduction of AI tools was that it's made a lot of things possible. It's made a lot of things faster and more efficient, but it hasn't replaced anything, at least not in the industry that I am in right now, or the space I'm in right now.
Yeah. So you've been in the management position and you are also a creative. So you have, the best of both worlds, very Hannah Montana right there. So you must have been in meeting rooms when this discussion was happening, when AI was being rolled out. So how did you approach this conversation? How did you, think about implementing AI in your work processes?
It is interesting to be on both sides, to be part of both sides, because when AI was first introduced or when it first became popular, I don't think many people had the awareness and understanding of how it worked and what its capabilities were. So that initial excitement was like, these robots can do everything. But as a writer, when you play around with ChatGPT, when you play around with all these LLMs, you know what it outputs, and you know that your job is not in danger, right? So it's just not of high enough a quality to produce really good work. So I guess my part was basically managing expectations. Like, look, we have great tools, but look, it's not going to solve all your problems. It'll solve some things, but it's in no way going to replace high quality work, high quality skill, and a high quality output, right? So what it did help us do was it just helped us reduce the amount of time we spent on certain things. As a writer yourself, you know that sometimes you're asked to create a lot of fluffy content. You want to pad things up, you want to pad up presentations, you want to just
Yeah.
have words there, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's a pain in the neck to do. But if you want to pad things up, an LLM will just produce things for you really fast and really easy. But
Right.
it's not great at creating scripts. It's not great at creating original content. It's not great at really high level analysis, at skilled content, right? At skilled analysis. So these things we would keep in house. We'd always be able to use AI tools to do the most mundane and most boring part of things that don't require high skill. Um, a part of where it really, really helped was when it comes to video and imagery. Before, it would be very difficult to find images. You had to buy images for presentation decks. You'd have to buy content. Now you can just generate content. And so, for example, instead of creating one pitch deck every 2 weeks, you can create two pitch decks a week
Right.
because you can generate imagery, you can generate concepts, you can generate storyboards really fast. So that was fantastic. When it comes to video, sometimes you're working with very limited content. But now, if you have a clip of 10 seconds, but you need 15 seconds, you can extend these videos. You can extend the end, you can bring forward the beginning. So now you have enough of a clip to put inside your video, right? Another way that we use AI now is for automated transcripting. Before, you'd have to have a writer sit down, have the headphones on, listen to the entire thing for 2 hours, then transcribe it. Now you just transcribe it in 5 minutes, have a writer sit through it for about 15, correct all the typos, correct the grammar, and then you have it ready to go in half the time.
Yeah.
So that is how it works now. And in the beginning, what took 3 hours, we can do now in half an hour. So the whole process of working in tools for management is basically managing expectations, showing people, look, it's fantastic, but what it's shown on the Google stage is not exactly what you can do right now practically. These are what it can do, and these are how we use it. So it's mostly done in partnership with the skilled creative, but it does not replace one yet.
Right. That's actually a really great insight as to how we are currently utilizing AI, in conjunction with humans who are able, to actually carry out these tasks themselves, but at a higher level. Because something that I was reading about recently, they mentioned that right now a lot of people are they take comfort in knowing that AI cannot match their skills yet, but that does not mean that one day it would not be able to put out really good quality content with, a little bit of a nudge. But all in all, I think as writers and as designers, artists, we are currently not feeling much impact in terms of like when we're talking about quality. But we also have to realize that from our perspective, we like you could look at a ChatGPT article and know that is a bad article. That's a bad one. But what about people who are not good writers, who inherently are not trained in the like inherently just I don't think we can say inherently
Mhm.
because well skills can be yeah. Hey, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that some people aren't gifted. Okay, some people are gifted. Okay, some people are born with it. Sometimes it's Maybelline. That's how it is. Okay, but so this particular redditor is also kind of in the same boat as a lot of other writers and creatives who've been kind of panicking about losing their job to AI, and they go, what are your thoughts? Will AI replace jobs quickly or slowly? So the discussion right now is substantial byte 4017. I wonder what that means. I'm afraid to ask, actually. They say that it'll start out very slowly in the beginning, then almost nothing, and then a bit more, and then suddenly all at once. Do you think that's what we're witnessing right now, where we're seeing a sort of slow crawl, and then suddenly we're seeing like a plateau, and then boom? Is that what we're approaching? Do you feel that happening?
So, Substantial Byte has something going on there. Right. When it comes to the rate of growth of AI,
Yeah,
because now we have ChatGPT 4.0, right? And it's
yeah,
incredible. It's incredible kind of things it can do. But
yeah,
then you have really failed products like the Humane Pin and Rabbit that couldn't do half the things that were possible. But this week you had Google Demo Gemini, which is incredible, and incredible. So when it comes to rate of growth, yes, I think there's a huge rate of growth when it comes to machine learning and AI and things of that nature. I'm not an AI expert, right? So somebody else will probably answer these better. But the thing is, what you said about it matching quality, yes, I believe it'll match quality, but in terms of imitating it, right now, what large language models do is they get an aggregate, an average level of the internet. Right? ChatGPT is basically the average intelligence of the internet.
yeah,
So you're going to have them racist, you're going to have them silly, you're going to have them make mistakes, you're going to have it very average. It's not super creative. But will it get to a point where it's of high quality? 100%.
yeah,
I was talking about intelligence. Right? So an AI is not intelligent in the way you think it's intelligent. It's artificial intelligent, but it's actually plural. The artificial intelligences, and they're all good at certain tasks. I mean, you can train them to those certain tasks. It is not an artificial general intelligence.
right.
It's an overall smart machine. It is just a well-trained machine learning model. Will things change in the future? No, 100% it's going to change.
Yeah.
As to the rate of change, yes, I think it's going to exceed anything you'd ever dream of.
Hmm.
But I don't know if it's going to make changes across the world to the extent people are afraid of it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay.
that's going to happen.
Okay. I mean, I'm expecting Cyberpunk 2077 out of this, like straight up aliens in space level stuff. But, oh yeah, spoiler alerts. But aside from that, I mean, I do think we're going to see a shift as well, and as dramatic a shift as is possible without overly, dramatizing the actual impacts. But there is one way of seeing this. It's that right now we want AI to assist us, but Joanne Chen, who is a general partner at Foundation Capital, she believes that we will see a paradigm shift from machines assisting humans to humans assisting machines in the next decade. So, what are your thoughts on this prediction? Will we end up being the secretary to ChatGPT soon? Not the other way around.
I completely disagree. It is, to me, it
Yeah.
doesn't sound logical or possible. For
Mhm.
one thing, artificial intelligences are created by us.
Right.
As much as we want them to be good and better at certain things, I'm not sure they can be better than us as an overall because we are making it,
Yeah.
right? We'll have to be able to imagine something that's that much better than us to be able to program it and make an intelligence that becomes that. or we need to be able to program certain kind of rules that would help it to learn to make itself much better than us. So I'm not sure that we're capable of creating an entity like that. At least not yet. I mean, don't quote me on this.
Not yet. Disclaimer. Got
Not
it.
yet. So I don't agree. I don't think we'll
Yeah.
ever end up serving general intelligences or artificial intelligences. Doesn't seem
Right.
quite possible. Will it change things quite a bit? Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, but will we work for it? Will we become slaves for it? Unlikely.
All right, so this Redditor has an issue with experts claiming that AI will create new jobs and that there is nothing to worry about. Now, we've been talking about how we could include AI and how AI could be a supportive tool, in our day-to-day tasks. So, in a way, we're kind of falling in that same basket right now. So this person, like, they dive into a little bit more detail. They say in the short time period between now and getting to AGI, it will create many new jobs, but nowhere near as many to replace the jobs that will be lost. And the jobs lost will be lost forever. Just like we don't have people operating elevators anymore. Once it's done, it's done. So, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, when you were growing up, did you always want to be an elevator operator?
Kinda a
It's,
little bit because it looks so fancy with the little
and there's a
hat.
nice uniform. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, technology has to change. It is going to change. It's been changing ever since there were human beings. It's going to change as long as there are human beings, right? It's just a thing
Yeah.
that's going to happen. Um, and the jobs you're losing are what elevator operators. Will AI make you lose certain jobs? It's interesting. I did read an article recently about a group of people or somebody who lost their job to AI, but basically what their job um, was creating SEO content for bad people. Can I say? So it's technically people who are doing things and getting negative publicity about it, maybe things that are messing up the environment, and then you have really bad publicity coming in for them. So then you'd have these people, these little shadow companies that are created where writers just churn out positive content, fake, completely fake positive content about this person to drown out the negative content.
Yes, yes. I've heard
I'm
of
sure you read
this
about
as
it.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So there are these little organizations, and then those kind of things are easily replaceable. For one, you don't need high quality. You don't need to make sense. You just need a bunch of words on a topic online and as much as possible. So will those kind of jobs be replaced? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you aspire to have those kind of jobs? I don't know.
You
Um,
shouldn't. You really should.
you
No one
should.
should.
Pays good money,
Yeah.
but you
Oh,
shouldn't. Um, can AI do press releases? Yeah, I mean, pretty easily. Do you
yeah.
want to create a job out of writing press releases? Um, Maybe as a
No,
starter
not
thing, but it's
again.
not aspirational, right? Not really. I don't know anybody who loves writing press releases. So it'll replace certain aspects of a job. For example, for a writer, it might
Yeah.
replace writing press releases, it might replace writing captions, copy, fluff, that kind of thing. Will it replace a writer's job? I don't know. I don't think so. Will there be things that are phased out, certain career choices, maybe not career choices, certain roles? I'm sure. Like it's happening all the time. It happens all the time. Is it a cause for panic? I don't think so. It's not going to completely erase a course out of university. Like it's not going to remove a diploma for elevator operators, for example. It's not going to change in that sense. But
Yeah.
you're going to have to learn, and you're going to have to learn to adapt. That is 100%.
Yeah. I agree as well. In some aspects, I do think that our greatest issue right now isn't really the AI tool itself. It's about the mentality of people who, especially higher ups, who think that it's easy to swap out a person with this tool. I think that's where a lot of the resentment actually lies with these people because they're thinking, why is our work not being valued? Why do they not see the amount of effort that it takes, the skills that it takes to do this job? And we already know that AI helps with automating these mundane tasks, but Is it fair for like team leaders, people in management? Is it fair for them to expect AI to foster creativity and innovation at a human level?
You might have to answer on several levels. Like,
Yeah,
if you
please.
mean, do you expect it to foster innovation in and of itself? Um, I don't think so.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think so. Humans are infinitely creative creatures. They're infinitely adaptable creatures, right? Nothing can be as creative as a human being. Like machines cannot do it. So will it foster creativity? No. You need to have good individuals, intelligent, skilled, capable, and give them space. They will foster creativity. Will it enable a broader aspect of creativity? Yes. When you were talking about how people weren't feeling valued when it comes to the kind of things they create, when they feel like like leadership or management is not valuing their creativity, you know, that's how AI can work for these people as opposed to for corporations, because technically it's the creator economy. You look around you, the things that are making business sense, that are making money, are individual creators. If you don't think they value you, or if you don't think a structure, an organization values you, you can literally become a one person production team.
Yeah.
Like, you have all the tools available for you. You have the decks. You don't need to be able to edit. You can use tools to edit. You don't even need to take photographs. You can generate them. You could literally create content all by yourself. And there's multiple examples of people just doing this. The world is open to and is open for creators to do it individually by themselves. And it's a huge market. It's a huge opening. You can do absolutely anything you want right now, and it's just getting better and better for individual creators. So, will it foster creativity in an organization? No. Will it enable you to be a lot more creative and to take onus and ownership over
Yeah.
everything? Fantastically.
Yeah. I've also heard of many people, just going full on freelance. People who are working as writers, copywriters, are now going freelance. They're working on entire campaigns by themselves where they can use, like you already mentioned, you could use the tools to generate your own, photos, the pictures. You can complete them in a very short period of time. I think it's really useful in that sense. But here's the thing: there is also a larger conversation where people are thinking, oh, this is the next industrial revolution. This is going to change things on a huge level. This is what we've been waiting for, the next tech evolution. But like I said, this takes us back onto Reddit, where all the good discourse is. So this one person says that AI will create and destroy jobs, and history offers us a lesson. And basically, they're saying that the correct comparison for AI is not the Industrial Revolution. It's with cheap human workers imported from overseas. Until now, such as this was happening mostly at the lower social orders and impacted what society calls working class jobs. They've used extra articles in this for Lord knows what reason. I'm just reading them out anyway. Drivers, delivery drivers, packing, cleaning, retail work, all of this. What AI is doing is clearly the same thing, but now aimed at middle class jobs, is what they say. But that they also highlight that there is no actual benefit for this process in any particular receiving country for the working class in that country. And they don't get a better life out of it. They get lower wages and a far worse quality of life with no way out at all. So, what are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about it?
I think it's a false analogy when you're comparing AI to immigrant workers. I don't think it's a fair comparison. I also don't think it's an AI problem. I think this is primarily a structural, organizational, government level problem when it
Yeah.
comes to middle class jobs, middle class work, or whatever, like drivers, for example. These are things that need to be addressed by the government as a whole. If you start viewing AI as an immigrant worker, you're going to have the same sort of protests that you see now against immigrants. It's
Yeah.
like these people are coming to take our jobs. Elon Musk and his robots are coming to take our jobs. Um,
Yeah.
it is a failure to move along. I think structurally, it's a failure to expand. It's just people holding on to things, and it might be a failure of governments to adequately prepare and adequately support people and adequately create transition. I won't call it a technology issue. I would call it a structural issue.
Yeah. I mean, we don't currently have any frameworks set in stone to help us with this. Amazon is already flooded with AI books, and people put their names on something that has just been generated. But on the other hand, we've known that a lot of these guides and stuff that we found on Amazon are just a bunch of Wikipedia pages stuck together as well, which was a concern for a long period of time. So I think we're still in the process of kind of figuring out what the policy around it should be and how we could actually help it support the populace rather than be a burden on it. So, do you think we're going to get there? How do you feel about that? Like, from
So
where
that's
you're seeing it?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've thought about this because I mean, I like to write as well, and is everything I like to do going to be replaced by robots who also write? But look, that's the same thing that happened during the Industrial Revolution. You had handmade
Yeah.
products being replaced by factory-made products, which is cheaper, faster. In a sense, it made things cheaper for us, but it made things harder for people who created these things, right? So it's a transition of jobs. AI is going to create content. We can't help it, but then it becomes a question of branding and marketing. Because right now, you would probably pay premium, most people do, for a pair of handmade leather shoes from Japan, as opposed to a pair of factory made shoes from China.
True.
So it's branding, handmade, right? So imagine if you brand certain things, a book like non-AI, written by a human, made by a human, or clothes, hand stitched, hand produced, hand woven. You could actually brand things to make it special, so that you would pay a premium and you have people support you for an actual human created thing as opposed to mass generated sort of thing. It's very
Oh,
interesting looking at
that
it.
is an interesting, kind of perspective that I hadn't thought of either. But do you think that, we already spoke about how the quality is kind of just average. So as time goes on, I suppose that this AI created content will also just continue to be average, will that it'll plateau at some point quality wise, and I guess we'll rise from the ashes like a
Mhm.
phoenix. But human writers back to save the day. But I just worry about the fact that if everything that we consume, uh, everything around us that we consume all comes from AI. If we ever get to that point, will we be stifling ourselves? Will we be limiting ourselves? Will we have a muse that isn't AI generated? This is what I'm thinking. I mean, that is kind of like a way, way in the future. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about right now.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Simple response, like flowers will still grow, right? Like things are going to be happening in the real world outside. So do I think you're going to be flooded with AI content? Yes, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be all around. You mentioned cyberpunk, right?
Yeah.
A kind of dystopian world where you go down, just flooded by advertisements coming from all around the place, just all machine created things. Yes, it's going to be there. You're going to have to look in different places for a muse or for creativity. That is 100%. The danger of AI is that when it comes to people utilizing it properly or efficiently, bad actors are going to be doing it first. What I'm seeing right now is the danger of AI is in fraud and misinformation. In the industries I work with, when it comes to the clients I work with, that is where it is exploding furthest and fastest, with misinformation and fraud. So you're going to have things that come up that control for these sort of bad actors, right?
Right.
Um, we do not have adequate controls yet when it comes to AI. There's like two schools of thought when it comes to the development of AI. One is, do we slow it down? Do we put controls and laws and regulations in place to make sure AI is on guardrails, or do you let it expand the way it wants to? Because if it does, then it grows and innovates faster. So
Yeah.
decisions haven't been made yet. We just don't have enough information. No one's going to do it, but I'm sure it's going to happen. If
Right.
it comes to a creative industries and creative jobs and creative people, you are going to have to deal with this flood of things. You're going to have to find different places to look. Maybe go outside. Yeah. Creativity is just there.
Touch grass.
Touch grass,
Go touch grass.
pluck a flower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the yeah. I guess that is an overly pessimistic view that I was, talking about, because every kind of dystopia that we see, every fictional dystopia, is a complete destruction of human creativity and autonomy, and the robots rule us. So yeah, I guess this just go outside and touch grass. I guess. Yeah, I mean, we made it. We
You
made
know,
it to begin
I'm
with.
gonna show my age here a little bit, right?
Yeah,
But I remember when television was a thing, how there were so many newspaper articles saying that TV is burning your kids' brains out. People are going to be stupid. And then when video games were popular, it was like, look, video games are going to make your kids violent, and it's going to make your kids just stupid and dumb. And now AI is here, and it's the same kind of conversation that goes on.
yeah,
We will adapt. Things will change. Once the first rush slows down,
yeah.
things will change.
True. Let's hope so. Because what kind of change AI is actually capable of, enacting is kind of the whole point of this conversation. Because we wanted to know if AI will expand or narrow industries, and what kind of impacts that will have on the workers within those industries. So from your perspective, Andre, in what ways do you see this happening in the near future, and are there any signs or indicators that we need to look out for?
I think so. I think it will expand. It might be just way too optimistic of me, but I think it'll expand. And there are several examples of this. Right? Um, when YouTube came out, I mean, YouTube became popular. It provided an opportunity for people to leave television and to just create their own shows. And now they have their own followings. They have their own
Yeah,
connection to their own audience. Right? When TikTok came out, you have micro niche influencers. So people who are popular in their very small niche, who have a following, who make a living, who do things, and who people value. So for me, what I've said in the past is that media is becoming decentralized, and control and attention is becoming decentralized. It started with internet and with social media. It'll be pushed forward with AI and AI tools. Anybody has the chance and the opportunity to create their own thing, their own space. Uh, it's, I believe, the creator economy, and you don't have to be a mega creator to be that. You just have to have, like, I mean, Kevin Kelly says you just need 1,000 true fans, right? All you have to do is be good in that niche, and then you have a way to live, you have a way to create. So I believe in this whole idea of decentralization, where power and attention does not exist in just one big mega media house, but
yeah.
rather it's spread according to whoever wants it and whoever can build that audience. So that is where I think AI will help people. It'll help people decentralize power and attention. It'll help people reach audiences, and you can just be a one-man production team all by yourself.
That's very interesting, and actually kind of empowering when you look at it from that perspective. As the next and final Reddit story kind of ties everything together, because this person thinks that the real benefit of AI is that it'll help us with the increasing complexity that we as a society are facing, which kind of ties in with the decentralization process. And this is what they've. Now, I'm just going to leave the technical jargon bit out because, well, I don't understand it. But I'm kidding. Or am I? So this person says, I've been trying to think about how AI could benefit society. And one thing that they considered is that how much AI will help them maintain complex systems. There's a well-known paper or book called The Collapse of Complex Societies that posits as society becomes ever more complex, it becomes ever more challenging to maintain or rebuild during some sort of disaster. The idea being that as systems become more complex and interconnected, there's just too much going on for anyone to try and make sense of it. So they believe that AI can help reduce our exposure to this complexity and remove some of the existential risk from society. What do you think? How do you feel about this?
I agree. I agree. I don't think it'll help reduce existential risk, we're human beings. We're just becoming more and more anxious as time goes on. But I agree it'll help reduce complexity or at least explain it. But it's funny that this complexity is created by us ourselves, right? It's our own systems that is
Yeah.
creating this complexity. But 100%, it is really, really complex. And AI can number crunch, it can explain, it can analyze a lot faster than we could ourselves. So I'm 100% sure it'll help us in that way. It'll help us with understanding things. It'll help us with decision making. It'll help automate decision making, like what kind of thing you need to do, when you need to do it, how fast. It'll help with predictions. Uh, that part is definitely true, and I think I would look forward to that. But you also have to remember that they're only as good as what you program into it.
Oh, that's very important. That
Yeah.
is very important because there's so many things that we don't have the time to even get into, whether it's racism in tech. You remember those water sensors and those dispensers that wouldn't you
Mhm.
dispense for people with dark skin? Yeah, that was one thing. But like I think we need to work from the bottom to the top, really from the base on, because it is really about what we program it to do and how we do it. It all comes down to that. And like you said, this complexity, man-made. But what I personally hope will happen is AI will do all the decision making and all the production and everything, and we get to live on a farm or on a hill, drink tea while it rains, and not have to worry about paying the bills. And that's the hope. That's the dream. For me, anyway, I really do want to live in a farm.
I
Like
mean, me
Jeremy
too.
Clarkson.
Me too.
Oh yeah. I mean, it looks like it's only a little bit stressful, but the cows are cute, so it
if
works
you
out.
if you ever try to milk a cow, you will know they're not so cute.
Okay.
You know
Well,
it.
maybe the farm life wasn't meant for me. Anyway, so let's just to bring it back in, like to reel it back in, back to the workers themselves. Now, we already spoke about how AI, we don't have any framework actually within which to work. We don't have the parameters set down yet. So how do we, ensure that the benefits that are received from leveraging AI are translated to the workers to improve their standards of living instead of just, maximizing profits or feeding into scams like we spoke about, fraud? How do we ensure something like that is possible?
That's a broader societal thing.
I
It is
know.
not something we could even get even close to
I
addressing.
know. Right.
Um, it, but
Give
but
me
there's
one solution. I'll just
one
add it to the
solution.
list.
Yeah. One solution is
So,
basically you, right? Yes, you as a Gen Z. So it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing about this generation that is very counter intuitive to the whole rise of AI. One is the extremely value based. Okay, and then the other is that the value authenticity more than anything else. So while AI is trying to bring this quality and perfection, Gen Z doesn't care. Right? They don't care if you're perfect. They care if you're if you're real. So they value that messy reality more than they value perfection.
oh,
Right. The other is values based. So
yeah.
people are going to chase profit like 100%. You're going to have finance bros chasing the bottom line. It's never going to change. Where there's money, there's going to be people chasing money. But if society as a whole, or if the generation as a whole is looking for people who are more interested in value than in the bottom line, that will help create more value based organizations. And a value based organization always puts the person first, as opposed to the machine and process and productivity. So leaving Ford and his assembly line behind, we move more closer towards a more value based business model.
Yeah.
And that's the only way that we can put people first over machines.
That's like the nicest thing I've heard you say about a Gen Z ever.
Don't,
Aw.
maybe we'll cut this part. We'll just cut this part.
No, I'm just no, yeah. I'm keeping it in. I will listen to it later so I can feel good about
Oh
myself.
my, okay.
Okay, so it's time to wrap up, and you know what that means, Andre. It
Oh yeah.
means it's time for a piece of unconventional advice. Give us everything you've got.
This is probably the most embarrassing part of the whole thing. But I mean, if it's really bad, we can cut it out. Okay. Uh, so my thing is my unconventional advice is after even though I'm in this digital industry,
Yeah.
imagine what will happen if everything breaks. See, the life we live now is layers upon layers upon layers of complexity that we built for ourselves. Most people spend 4 to 6 to 8 hours just online, completely all the time. So it sometimes feels to people that life is lived online.
Yeah.
This worry about AI, about machine learning, about losing jobs, is all based on this sort of technological society we built
Yeah.
that can be brought down by one power outage. Your power plant goes, you got no batteries. Elon Musk is not giving you like internet connections or batteries. What are you going to do? So just imagine what's going to happen if none of these things work. How would you manage life? And I'm talking about this from certain examples. We've been through COVID, where we've had rapid change in lifestyle.
Oh yeah.
Things we thought we believed in, we trusted in, just stopped. Before that, we've seen now we work digitally, like digital marketing. A
Yeah.
government can just stop your access to social media. How do you function as a business?
Mm.
Right? And then before that, when you live in a society that is in conflict, you don't have access to these kind of resources as well. So what I'd say is, how would you live, or how would you keep yourself going? How skilled are you at these sort of things? If none of this works, can you still go outside and can you touch the grass? So to sum it up, imagine what it would be like if things break. Always learn and adapt, but keep your feet firmly grounded.
That's really good advice. I don't know why you said this would be embarrassing. That's actually really good
Because it
advice.
shows my age. Go outside, touch the
Yeah,
grass.
it's wisdom. It's wisdom.
See, old.
You are the wise so loud.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get these braces off. It's been really, really difficult, people. This is what I need AI to fix. Fix this.
You're gonna have an AI
Find a way.
dentist. AI dentist, 100%.
100%. It was a really good conversation, Andre. Thank you so much for joining us and for your incredible insights. I had tons of fun, genuinely. And I feel like there's so many follow ups that I really wanted to ask, but alas, we are running out of time. So it's time to wrap up. But thank you to our listeners who've joined us again. This is season 3. We're kicking off with a whole new bunch of episodes, a whole new bunch of guests like Andre. So follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, and of course, go check out our site and listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye bye.